You've had some real highlights since you've been singing and touring together. Can you each share a highlight that will always stay in your memory?
I think for me, the joys of what we do is kind of be able to see so many places and meet so many people. But I think especially when we get to go to a place where I wouldn't expect to go normally, that those type of places stick in my head. So something like when we went to Colombia for three concerts, so we tagged it onto one of our US tours, and we went to Bogota, and then headed further down to Nieva and Florencia, I think it was, which is kind of on the kind of it's pretty much the gates to the Amazon forest, rainforest. So yeah, the opportunity to be able to kind of go to these places and sing for. I mean, it was a kind of totally kind of packed out church when we were down there. People seemed to really enjoy what we were doing. I think there was someone in the front row who had their phone out and was streaming it to Facebook at the time. So yeah, they were really keen. It was amazing to be in these places and kind of share our music all around the world.
It's amazing to go to new countries, as Josh said. I say Finland was really a wonderful place to visit. I can recommend it to anybody who hasn't been. We were in Helsinki, and something about the culture there I found really beguiling and wonderful. Everyone's nice to each other. Everyone's very patient with each other. Particularly at our CD table, when sometimes in foreign countries our card machines throw a hissy fit. Everyone there was incredibly patient with us and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that doesn't usually happen." It was just so utterly refreshing. And they love their choral music there. Particularly in Helsinki, it seems to be the choir capital of the world. Our audience was pretty full of choirs that come to hear us. So it's always lovely when you go to a location that clearly is really keen to hear us and also be nice with it as well.
Also, a shout out to Susanna, who I think is in charge of the digital resources for Choir of the Earth. It was lovely to meet her as well, because that's where she kind of lives, and she brought along some of our choir.
Favorite gig. Okay, so Josh has gone for the one that we would all go for, which was Columbia, because that was incredible. Yeah, just like complete culture shock, but also incredible musical experience. But I'm gonna take us a bit closer to home, and it was 2 years ago today, I think, or the equivalent of today, which was at St John Smith Square, as it was then, Sinfonia Smith Square, and it was my first sort of 3 or 4 months in the group, and it felt like such an occasion. I'm sure the other boys didn't experience it in quite the same way as I did, but it felt like such an occasion for me, where it was completely packed out. It was full of lots of people that we know because it's in London and it's where we live. It was like wonderful Christmas music, and it just felt, I don't know, there was something in the air, and yeah. So I'd say that weirdly that is my highlight, and I'm sure that's not the highlight of anyone else's, but yeah, I just loved it.
We've had the opportunity to do some quite cool things. I remembered recently that, for example, University of St Andrews, we were the first ensemble, apart from singers within the university, to use their new concert hall. And as musicians, sometimes we get to peer behind the curtain and see and experience things that not everyone else does. And that's really cool. And being able to share those memories and experiences with other people is a really kind of valuable part of what we do. And the other thing we get to do is visit places. And when I say visit, I mean often we're on the road and we're traveling around, but we do get to spend time in places and understand a little bit of the culture. And you can imagine how many different countries we visit in any given year. Even this year, we made debuts in Austria and in Finland, and visited Los Angeles and Chicago for the first time. And we do our best when we're touring, not just to be in and out of a place, but to have at least time to feel, you know, I was going to use the analogy of like, teabagging the tea. We're sort of well brewed. We're kind of not yet up to builders in terms of our touring calendar, but that's the idea. So yeah, seeing the world uh, through the lens of a cup of tea.
I absolutely love that. I don't like builder's tea, but in this instance, I would definitely go for it. Guy, what's your highlight?
A very special moment for me was through working with the Gesualdo Six. I've been able to go and work also with an Italian ensemble called Odecaton, which are run by this fantastic chap called Paolo De Col. It's a very different type of music making. But since my very first concert with them back in, I think it was 2017 or something, my dream was to kind of combine the groups and to kind of have the best of both worlds. And in October 2020, we were invited to be part of a kind of joint project as part of Joss Gann's 500th year anniversary in 2021, to record alongside Odecaton in the hills above Venice and this beautiful abbey, which is an absolutely amazing place in Foligno. And despite COVID and despite everything else, we were actually able to go to Italy and to work alongside these amazing singers, some of which I think can trace their singing, teaching, their pedagogical line all the way back to Joss Gann. Some of them, you know, it's incredible. These guys sing in a different tradition than we do. And yeah, we got to work with them, and sadly the travel corridor closed a day early, so we couldn't do a concert we'd organised in Venice. But it did mean that we had a day off in Venice before our flight, and it meant that we were in Venice when there were literally no tourists there because of COVID. So we got to spend a day kind of doing all of the incredible things that one can do in Venice. And yeah, I'll never forget that. I don't think it's probably ever going to happen again to Venice. So yeah, that was pretty unique.
Gosh, that is incredible. What did you do? What did you do that day?
Oh, well, we've got a list of things that we always love to do in Venice.
Right.
And for me, it's having an Aperol Spritz by the Naranzeria, just by the Rialto Bridge. And then we caught up with some of the director of Odecaton, Paolo's friends there. We had a lovely risotto. And we got to see a bit of San Marco from the front, which is always very special.
Yeah.
And then we took one of those cool James Bond-like taxi boats that you would never normally get because they're too expensive.
Yeah.
But because it was COVID, it was quite cheap. So we took one of those back to the car to get to the airport. And yeah, we all felt for a moment, I think, a little bit like James Bond, which was pretty cool.
Brilliant stuff. Now, Simon, you joined in 2025. So you've got like limited highlights to choose from. What are you going to go for?
No, I'm very envious of all these Colombian stories and things, but
and the Venice speedboat.
I know it's tough, but no, I've already had some absolutely fantastic experiences, and one that springs to mind, which I think is particularly relevant, is our secret bird project, which uses, as I'm sure you know, Bird 5 as its kind of basis. And the first time I did this with the group was in America. So we took it to Los Angeles. And then over the course of that sort of tour, we did Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago. And the San Francisco and all of these venues are often quite different. So some of them will be churches, some of them will be the Chicago one was an antiques furniture restoration workshop, which was really cool. And we have lots of exciting plans to do it in other very cool places in the future as well. But also you can do it in a really big venue. And in San Francisco, we did it in the cathedral, in Grace Cathedral, on top of the hill. Absolutely stunning building. And we managed to create this sense of intimacy around a table that we'd raised up onto a platform. But, you know, whilst in this enormous building, and I know the boys have also done it in other big cathedrals in New York and stuff, but that was completely new to me. And the Bird project itself, Secret Bird, is like nothing I've ever done with any other music making forces anywhere. And it was such a sort of a rush, because you're sort of acting it, you're singing it in this new way, and you're surrounded by these people that maybe haven't seen anything like it. And there was as Ali said about the St. John Smith Square gig, there was something in the air, and it was just amazing. Yeah.